Hello, my name is Jennifer Evans Cowley, and I'm a professor of City and Regional Planning and Vice Provost for Capital Planning and Regional Campuses at The Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio. I'm really pleased to be able to be with you via video today as part of the tech side of planning. This is a wonderful workshop, and I really wish I could be there in person because I've looked at the program and seen an enormous number of interesting talks that'll be happening throughout the day, and I'm confident you're going to learn a lot. My own research centers around the ways that planners can use technology in the planning process, and I'm particularly interested in participatory technologies. So I'm going to spend a few minutes today just sharing with you some big picture overview of where technology is today, and then a handful of applications that you may wish to incorporate into your own practice. So according to a study conducted by the Pew Internet and American Life Project, 91% of Americans have a cell phone as of 2014, and when you look at younger populations, it's almost 100%. And of that, about 58% of American adults have a smartphone, and that's a real increase, up 23% from just 2011. And what we find is that smartphone adoption is expected to increase, and the market demand increases for multifunction mobile devices, for example, iPads, iPhones, everything. Just as an example, here at Ohio State University, each classroom is being programmed for 3 mobile devices. That is to be able to support the Wi-Fi that would be necessary if you had a laptop, an iPad, and an iPhone all hooked up. And on our campus, 75% of students have an iPhone. So not just a smartphone, but an iPhone. And so the adoption of these multifunction mobile devices has really rapidly increased. So one of the things we want to know is, of people who have their mobile phones, are they using them to go online? And a study back in 2013 found that 63% of all adult cell phone users are using their phones for access to the internet. And for more than a third of them, this is the principal way that they go online. So they're not using other devices like a laptop computer. I think that's a really big shift that we need to be aware of, that we're increasingly seeing people rely on their mobile devices as their principal way that they're accessing the internet. And when we think about these smartphones, of course, we have mobile applications. You might be using Facebook or an email app or things like that. And on average, people have 41 mobile applications per mobile device, which is just crazy to me to think about how many applications people have on their phones. So every year I do a survey of planners to find out what's their rate of adoption of mobile technology. And based on our survey that we did last fall, 96% of planners reported that they are using a smartphone or tablet, and another 1% plan to buy one in the future. And this is one that we've seen a really big change over the last couple of years. When we started this survey, we saw far fewer planners using their smartphones or tablets at work. But now it's 92% of planners are finding that they are using these mobile devices at work. And the real big question is, what is it that planners are using their mobile devices for? So the answer, of course, is Facebook, social media applications, and I'm sure that those planners are using them to engage with the public as part of their planning projects rather than their personal updates. But the planners are also using them for note-taking apps and productivity and all kinds of other things. But only less than a third are using them for planning specific apps. And so I'm going to touch on that more because I think it's a general lack of awareness about what tools are out there that can help planners in their everyday work. Now, I want to get back to this point about the public accessing the internet, principally from their mobile devices. So we as planners have an obligation to provide good information out to our communities, and we want them to be able to access that in a way that's convenient to them. So a recent study by Urban Insight that was published on the Planetizen website looked at what communities are doing and what information they're providing and whether or not it's mobile technology enabled. So what they found is that 15% of city planning department websites are now optimized for smartphones. That's a really small number. So I would really encourage all of you to go back, have conversations with your IT department, understand what the process is for updating and making your websites enabled for smartphone technology and mobile devices. But there are planning departments that are offering a number of online services. For example, 21% offer online permitting. 10% of city planning departments have dedicated social media channels such as Facebook or Twitter. And as many as 40% of our communities are offering online property lookups, for example, through GIS systems. And you can see in this graphic that the West and South, Northeast, the differences between the regions in terms of the ability to use their GIS systems online. Traffic on smartphones and tablets has been growing rapidly, and it's predicted that mobile computing is going to continue to grow. And as such, the concept of responsive web design has developed. And so it's really important that people have a single website that is accessible not only from their desktop and laptops, but also from their mobile devices. And so what we see is, of course, it's not surprising that in larger cities that more people have mobile-friendly websites, but that number needs to change rapidly. Getting back to what we want to use as planners in the workplace. When I asked planners about what they would like to be able to use, they said they would like to be able to use their mobile device to support their work as planners, and that in specific, they'd really like to be able to use it for public engagement, and they'd like to be able to use it for field recording of information. So whether that be spatial information or other kind of information. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of ways that I've used mobile technology to enable my own work. So at Ohio State University, we are adding 3,000 new beds onto our North Campus, and that's set to be complete in about a year. That means an additional 3,000 students who will be crossing important campus thoroughfares. And I wanted to understand, what impact should we expect? How many pedestrians are currently crossing the road? We're thinking about potentially moving bus routes from one street to another. Will this reduce the amount of pedestrian conflict? What kinds of traffic control measures do we need to take into account, and how might we look at this? So I used an app called Traffic Duco. This app has the option to pay per use or monthly rates. I opted for a 1-month plan because we wanted to go out there, capture information over the course of a month, and be done. And Traffic Duco allows us to collect traffic counts, and the great thing is that it can be done offline with later upload. The online system allows me to set up the assigned traffic count times, and then I could send my interns out, and they were notified of their assigned location and times. They just opened the app, went to the assigned location to collect the count data by simply tapping or swiping to collect the pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle movement data. The team reported that they liked using the app and found the different sounds for the different types of traffic to be a helpful cue to ensure that they were accurately recording the different modes moving through the intersections. The app support was fantastic, and the Traffic Duco team sent helpful emails specific to our observations, making sure that we were using the app to maximize its potential. And this really allowed us to understand where people are moving through campus, and currently, as part of our capital planning process, we're looking at adding a new traffic light in at one of the locations in order to ensure safe movement of pedestrians and vehicles. So on another project, we're looking at adding a bike sharing system on campus. We're currently in the RFP process. But before we did that, we wanted to understand whether or not students, faculty, and staff wanted bike sharing on campus. We wanted to know how much were they willing to pay for it, and how often would they use it. These questions called for a survey. We wanted to get out and around campus and talk to people as they were moving around, so we turned to QuickTap Survey, which works on Android and Apple tablets. QuickTap Survey has a variety of price points from free to paid, and the cost for our survey was $127. What I really like about this is you just input your survey questions online, and then the survey respondents tap their way through the answering your survey on the tablet, or you can read the questions and tap in the responses. As you can see, it's a nice visual tool that's very easy for people to respond to. And a great aspect of the QuickTap survey is that you can be offline when you collect the responses, and upload can happen later when you're back in the office and have Wi-Fi connectivity. As a bonus, we were able to use SurveyMonkey for a web-based version of the survey that we distributed on campus via email. And the results from SurveyMonkey can easily be imported into QuickTap Survey, combining all the results together. In all, we were able to get 2,000 responses in just a week, giving us a robust set of responses to better understand the level of interest in bike sharing. And for us, it provided the evidence we needed to proceed with going ahead and moving forward with the bike sharing system on our campus. Now, in some cases, you don't need to be able to use the app as the planner, but you need the data that's being collected by others using the app. So Strava is a fitness app that allows users to track their routes, whether it's running or biking or whatever activity they plan to undertake. So the Oregon Department of Transportation had seen a substantial increase in the number of people choosing to commute by bicycle, but they didn't know what routes people were taking, making it difficult to plan for bicycle infrastructure. So the Oregon Department of Transportation purchased data from Strava, and the Department of Transportation was then able to use that data in their transportation modeling in the Portland area. This was particularly helpful in understanding commuting patterns in the more rural areas, so they were able to quickly get data that they couldn't have gotten otherwise, or it would have been far more time consuming to get. This is just the first of what I see as many different partnerships. A number of cities are partnering with Uber and other transportation providers to be able to capture the data that they're getting, where are people going to and from as they're sharing cars, as they're sharing cabs, whatever it might be. So I think it's an important area for us to take a look at and begin to think about how do we incorporate the data that private providers are collecting into public planning processes. So I've just given you 3 examples. There are many more, and you're certainly going to hear more about integration of social media, integration of GIS, and other technology tools today. I think you're going to be able to really see that there's tremendous opportunities for planners to leverage the technology that's out there to help us achieve more as planners. I regularly tweet about technology on Twitter, and you can follow me at Evans Cowley, and I write a planning blog on Planetizen where you can find out more ways you can use technology in planning. I hope you have a wonderful conference, and I wish you the best as you integrate technology into your own planning practice.